Greetings, YouTube. So, you found the yard sales or flea markets or estate sales that you want to go to. And you go. You've got your list. You figured out a rough route you want to go. You've got all your addresses written down. Put down cross streets just in case you can't find the address specifically, because sometimes streets are not in your GPS the way they should be, particularly on some of these newer housing developments. And you get to the location. And before you is an array of items, all of them ranging from the absolutely silly to the ugly and things that shouldn't be for sale. I've seen like mayonnaise and partly used makeup containers at yard sales, to things that you just can't live without. So what do? How do you go about purchasing the items that you want and getting the best deal possible? Now, I'm not an expert at this. I'm also not a salesperson. And I'm also not trying to steal from people. I am trying to get good deals. So I'm not trying to con people. There are people out there who will do things like that. I'm not one of them. However, I am very good at getting deals. And I have been able to acquire things dirt cheap that cost a whole lot more. As an example, just last weekend, I picked up a blue bag. That video should have probably already been put up, which is normally reckoned in the $75 range, and it was in as new condition, and I got it for $3. Why? The person didn't know what they had. I made an offer based on the container. This is a bag roughly this size. I will offer $3 for this bag. The person took me up on it. Even though it was worth far more and in excellent condition, I was able to get it dirt cheap. So what was one of the things I did? Well, first of it, I asked. That's the most important thing. What do you want for this? Okay? Now, if you're buying multiple items, such as DVDs, for example, there's a fair amount of wiggle room. If somebody says, they want $3 a pop, and that's all they say, if you grab 5 of them, you could very well pull that off for $10 or $12. Because you've got a bunch of them. They want to get rid of this stuff. The bag, for example, I asked up front, what do you want for the blue bag? I actually used a specific name to prompt them. If you want to be a little more duplicitous, don't use the proper name. Don't say that you know what the thing is. Just say the blue bag. Because if you give away that you know what type of bag it is, the person may think, okay, this person knows that they're getting a deal or knows something about this bag that I don't. So just say the blue bag. She didn't have an answer. That puts me at a disadvantage. It's easier and better if they say up front, it's X. That's a negotiation point. They've started the process. They've set the point to begin with. So that's the best possible situation. And if the person asks a whole lot for something, even if, and there's still going to be wiggle room, that still may be outside the range that you want to spend. Remember, when you walked into that flea market or yard sale or estate sale, you didn't own that thing. And you leave, you don't have to own that thing. You were under no obligation to own that thing or anything that they're selling. They have a problem. They want to sell stuff. You are a possible solution. It's up to you to make sure that in that process, you get what you want as much as they get what they want. So the best possible situation is they give you a number, and then you can work from there. If she'd said $5, I might have thrown back 3 and see what she said. But she said, what do you think it's worth? Or something along those lines. So I looked at it, and I took a gamble. I thought, okay, I could ask for 5, because that's well within what this thing's worth. But they've got a bunch of these bags. They actually had 3 different bags from this brand. 2 of them were just too large for my personal needs. I didn't need a bag that big. And so I thought, okay, they need to move these things. And since she didn't know the name brand, a piece of information I figured out because she didn't know what I was talking about, she's just selling this thing. I mean, I guess it belonged to a neighbor who donated it to her, to the cause. So I said $3. She looked at it, thought about it for maybe a full second or two, and then said yes. A lot of the time you can get an item for a good deal less than what's being offered. I paid $10 for a picture recently at a yard sale. The person initially wanted $20. I went and looked at the whole rest of the estate sale, and I came back to that. Now, that's a gamble because the item could be gone before you get there. But it wasn't a particularly common picture. It wasn't something I thought that most people were going to jump at, even though my wife really liked it. And then I said, well, will you take 10? Now, they wanted 20 for it. But again, they have a problem. They want this stuff gone. It wasn't a classic piece. It wasn't a vintage or antique piece. It was just a print. They took the $10 and went for it. We both got happy. They made $10. I got a picture that made my wife happy. It's now in my bathroom wall. So this is how I do this. I ask. I hear what they have to say. I come back with a counteroffer. I always try to pick something that's a good negotiation point. I asked for something when it was way more than I normally pay for something, but I said how much they wanted $35 for something. And I said, well, how about 30? And the guy's like, he says, how about 34? I said, how about 33? He laughed. I said, sure, I'll take 33. So I paid 33 for the item, even though it was more than I normally pay because it's an item I know that will make my wife happy. And sometimes you have to whittle things down like that. That's just the way it works, and it's part of the fun. Because sometimes you can get really great deals. I have a drill rig in the corner. I've shown that off in a video before, both as a bargain and as something I've used. And I just asked out. I said, how much do you want for the drilling rig? It's a drill. You put a drill into it, so the rig is just the device that allows you to bring the drill up and down in a controlled manner. And she said $2. I was dumbfounded. Okay, there's no way you could find this item for $2 anywhere. It's a Craftsman. It's in excellent condition. It works admirably. I would have paid $10 or $12 for this thing. She just said 2. I said, I'll take it for 2. And you can't give anything away. It helps if you have a face like mine. When I'm dealing, I can be very blank, which helps. It's not something I enjoy a lot of the time. The fact that I don't emote, my face doesn't emote well. But when it comes to these deals, not giving information away is good. In fact, there are times when I have to tell my wife, don't say anything about something, because sometimes her face emotes. Her face emotes way more than mine does. Her face emotes like most people's do. I can be very stone-faced, and my standing bitch face is readily apparent. And when I'm dealing, it's pleasant to a degree, but it's not as emotive as it is many people are. So it helps because I'm not giving away my surprise. Wow, that's worth a whole lot more than that. But I will take it for $2. So these kind of negotiations are what get you really good deals. Ask first. Have a counteroffer ready in your head. Be aware what you're willing to pay for something. Be aware that you didn't own it when you walked into that sale, so you don't need it when you leave. I come up with all kinds of cool deals in my bargain videos. But what you don't see is that for every really cool, great find, I've been to a dozen or 2 dozen thrift shops or yard sales or flea markets or estate sales and walked away with nothing. I go to thrift shops every single week. Normally at least 2 a week. At least 2 every single week. Well, if I'm on vacation, I can go to 2 a day. I slap on my bag, I walk in, I wander around, I see what I find. Sometimes you find nothing. Sometimes you walk away with 3 gaming books. Which is a good find for me if I can find gaming books. Sometimes you walk away with tools and knives and art. Sometimes you walk away with DVDs that are dirt cheap. At most flea markets nowadays, you're picking up DVDs for $1 to $2. If you're paying more than $2.50 a DVD, make sure it's something that you really want. My limit's like $5, and that's for like a multi-DVD set, for example. A season of something if you're into television shows. So these are just some ideas I'm throwing out here. about how to help you find bargains out there at the yard sales and flea markets, thrift shops, and such. I don't bargain at thrift shops, but it is helpful to find stuff. I bargain at the other places. A lot of the time, thrift shops are just there for charity, so I try not to screw them over. I'm not a member of Goodwill, for example. I don't have one of their discount cards. Because I figure my donation is buying this thing. I don't want to don't need a discount at this point in my life. There may be a point where I do. So tell me, how do you bargain? How do you find the deals that you love at these kind of sales? Tell me, what is your best bargain? What is something that you found that no one else could imagine they would find at a yard sale or a flea market, but you got it dirt cheap and you still have it and you love it? Tell me, because I love this kind of stuff.